You know, first impressions are very important. It shapes your opinion of just about anything for as long as you remember it. If the impression is bad, then it's easy for someone, especially a child, to not want to go back to it ever again. But thankfully for me, one of my first experiences playing a video game, besides Mario, were the adventure game from Humongous Entertainment. I had to thank my parents for buying me these games because I didn't know a thing about games at the time, and neither did they. So they just had to grab something with a cool looking cover. And thankfully, one of the games that they came across was this, Pajama Sam, No Need to Hide When It's Dark Outside. I have some pretty good memories with this game, but how does it fare today? Shall we dive in?
Deep in the bowels of an old power plant, a sinister plot is hatching.
Let's start with some learning. Oh, shove it. I'll make it quick, okay? The head producer of the game, Ron Gilbert, could be considered as one of the fathers of the adventure game genre. After taking part in a large number of games for the sadly past game company LucasArts, including Maniac Mansion and kickstarting the Monkey Island franchise, as well as being one of the men responsible for creating the Scum engine, a programming language that LucasArts used for many of their games. He and his colleague, Shelley Day, left LucasArts to form the company Humongous Entertainment, with a focus on making adventure games, and then some, aimed at young children. Some of their most memorable franchises were Putt Putt, Spy Fox, Freddy Fish, and our subject today, Pajama Sam. There, was that so bad? I have a lot to say about this game, so let's not hesitate any longer. Our story begins in the room of our protagonist, Sam, as he's reading a comic of his favorite superhero, Pajama Man, and his fight against darkness.
Take that! Not the Illuminator Mark V! Do you have anything to say before you're sucked into my portable bad guy containment unit?
If Sam sounds familiar to you, that's because he's voiced by Pamela Adlon, whose gruff voice is pretty recognizable if you're a fan of cartoons. She's voiced a number of memorable animated roles, such as Bobby from King of the Hill and Spinelli from Recess. What's interesting to note is that both of these shows started in 1997, so that means Pajama Sam predates both of them by a year. This game is also marked as her first starring role. It's nice to think that this game was an important start to a successful career. She's also performed in person, standing alongside comedian Louis C.K. on his hit series Louie, playing his partner in single parenting, Pamela. Really stretching that creativity, huh? Anyway, Sam is reading his comic until his mom comes into his room to tell him to go to bed. And this is the night that Sam promised his mom that he would try and go to bed without the nightlight turned on. But, as expected.
There's no need to hide when it's dark outside. No need to hide when it's dark outside. I'm not scared. Darkness lives in my closet, but that's okay. I'm not scared. Okay, I'm scared.
From this, Sam comes to the logical conclusion of trying to find darkness and trap him in a lunchbox. After suiting up in his Pajama Man gear, he goes into his closet and falls through a wormhole that drops him into the land of darkness.
Ouch.
But even though this plan is so clearly foolproof, he gets snagged in a trap set by an honestly creepy-looking tree in his buds.
Oh!
Customs inspection. Well, what have we here?
Hey!
Looks like a flashlight and a signature edition all-metal Pajama Man lunchbox. I think we'd better confiscate these items. They could be dangerous.
Hey, I need those!
And you're traveling in disguise. Let's see what you really look like,
My Pajama Sam mask.
Pajama Sam, eh? Well, all right then, Pajama Sam. You can go, but I've got my eye on you.
Well, this sucks. I guess I should figure out how to get down. Alright, that was complicated.
You can borrow that if you like.
Thanks.
I feel bad about you losing your things.
Yeah, how am I supposed to capture darkness without all my stuff?
Well, I'm sure your things are here in the land of darkness somewhere. If you look around, you might be able to find them again.
I hope so. I'll bring you back your rope later, okay?
Good luck.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Tree. Wait. That's your rope? Actually, now taking a closer look, it was hanging from your branches. You're with them, aren't you? Yeah, she's clearly the reason why your stuff gets stolen, but she plays it off like, oh, those guys are always causing trouble. I don't care how motherly and soothing your voice is. Give me back my flashlight so I can shine it in your eyes. Well, they're not going to give it back despite me yelling at the screen, so now you're going to have to explore the land of darkness before facing your fears. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to ask a simple question. How do you pause the game? F5, no joke. It probably took me about 10 minutes pressing every button until I eventually gave up and checked the forums on Steam. Look, this game was made nearly 10 years ago, so in that time, the standard keyboard layout for games was bound to change. But I bought this game on Steam, not on the original CD-ROM. Was it really too hard to readjust the controls so I don't feel like an idiot? So, anyway, after the forest, the Land of Darkness is divided into 3 locations: the mines, the lake, and Darkness's house. I know that your first thought would be to go to the giant tree that's really tempting to go towards, but for the sake of progression, we're going to go down the road that doesn't have any defining features to meet our first truly friendly face, Otto. He's having a bit of a dilemma.
I can't go in the water, I'd sink. I'm made of wood, you know.
But wood floats.
No, I don't think so. I had this friend and he told me this story about his dentist brother who, he was made of wood and he got in the water and he sank.
Really?
Straight to the bottom. It's so scary. I wish I'd been a car.
I think your friend was wrong. Wood floats in the water.
Oh, I wish that were true.
So I need to show him that wood can float, huh? Now, how do I do that? I mean, it's not like I ran past a board floating above a bridge so that I remembered it when facing this puzzle. That would be too convenient. But even if I did run past a board floating above a bridge, it's not like we have something to grab it from the water, like a rope or so. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Miss Tree, I'm sorry, but I lost the rope you let me borrow.
Rope? Oh, that's all right. I can probably get a new one.
You're not mad?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of a relief not to have to hold that rope up all day long.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't mind the evidence going missing. I gotta say, even for a kid's game, the solution to these problems are really simple to find out. For example, this rail car named King is stuck because of rusted wheel, so naturally you need to find an oil can, which is just sitting on a dock right next to a door that needs it to be oiled too. Look, I know I'm not exactly the demographic for this game, physically, but still, a little bit of challenge would be nice. Like, over here, you see that well at the end of the path? Well, I'm gonna go to it. I can guarantee that there's going to be no challenge at all. It's not like these trees with faces on them are going to do anything.
Halt! Just where do you think you're going?
Nowhere really. I just wanted to pass by.
Just barging through like that?
This is an exclusive road. It's for trees only.
Hold on. Yeah, that should work. I'll be right back. Oh, what, you think you can beat me, you dumb tree? You got nothing. Your mom wants you to make a bobsled. Ah! I'm gonna need a minute. Now, I know that walking around and solving painfully simple puzzles to advance doesn't sound all that interesting, but actually, finding these items isn't that big of a deal because exploring is pretty fun in this game. Pajama Sam has a good amount of minigames and fun little distractions that can be entertaining. One of the staples of Humongous Entertainment is that if you click on certain objects on the screen, then that thing will react to it. These are all dumb and useless to your main goal, but still can be fun for a little kid. Also scattered around the Land of Darkness are Sam's dirty socks, which you have the option to try to collect and sort. Now, I know that doing laundry in a video game sounds way too good to be true, but you haven't even heard what happens when you collect them all. Drum roll, please. Extra dialogue in the end of the game. Totally not worth it at all, and surprisingly hard to do. Each time I played the game, I was always one or two short. And while we're on the topic, whose bright idea was it to put red socks in the cave with lava illuminating the room? Now, I can't call myself a fan of this game without mentioning cheese and crackers. I know that it just looks like tic-tac-toe, but it's clearly better considering that you can only play it if you just so happen to have some gold on you. So, now that I paid my debt, I challenge you to combat. Bring it on!
Looks like a draw.
Well, yeah, I was gonna let you win anyway. Something else that I have to bring up that surprised me about this game is that the characters that you come across are actually kind of interesting for a kid's game. Not a lot of them are really happy. No, rather, at least half of them have a scowl on their face. Isn't that fascinating? While there are some guys who are having a great time dancing inside of Darkness's house, or singing in the kitchen,
Chunks of food for darkness's stew. Turn my crank and watch me spew.
you would think that it would be all characters with big smiles on their face. But rather, there are people in this game who all have an expression that says, hey, we don't want to talk to you, go away. Still though, it doesn't make it any less fun to annoy them until they've run out of stuff to say.
There's no mail. Beat it. Well, all right, there's a little mail, but it's all for darkness. And it's all bills. You don't want what's in here, trust me. Oh, all right, here you go.
Darkness may already have won a fabulous $1 million prize. Yeah, right.
The Land of Darkness is also very nice to look at. Well, granted, the animation itself isn't great by today's standards. The hand-drawn environments are very pleasing to look at and reflect the cartoony nature of the world perfectly. And heck, even the animation has its own kind of charm.
Yahoo!
Best of all, since most of the time you're in locations that are dark, sensory isn't much of a problem. I say much of a problem because whoever animated the game thought it would be a good idea for Sam to shine his flashlight directly at the player's face near the beginning of the game, making the screen go from dark blue to solid yellow. When you find Sam's flashlight in his room, close your eyes, okay? This is the only scene where this happens, so after this, it's smooth sailing. Now, if you're talking Lang, then you might end up a bit disappointed. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you can beat this game in a measly 2 hours. My second playthrough, I was able to finish it in under 45 minutes. The way that Pajama Sam retains some replay value is that your Pajama Man stuff is in a different location with repeated playthroughs. While this might sound cool, each object only has one other location where it can be, so the replayability ends after about 2 or maybe 3 playthroughs. This game is short, and what you have to do is really easy. These would usually be signs of a bad game, wouldn't it? While there is still plenty of good in it, whereas it's very entertaining for a child, I have to say that the main aspects don't sit well with me. So, is it good? Yeah, I think so. But why? Nostalgia might be a part of it, but I think that I have a better answer. It's because Pajama Sam is perfect for a little kid. Right off the screen, Pajama Sam is instantly relatable to any kid who boots it up for the first time. By show of hands, who here has or is the kid that dressed as your favorite superhero? Wore a blanket as a cape, maybe pretend to have their powers, or read a comic book out loud while making silly voices for the characters? I know I have. My main man was the Flash as a kid. It doesn't have to be a superhero either. Did anyone dress up as your favorite Disney princess for Halloween? Or waited eagerly for your letter to Hogwarts to come in the mail? It's childlike innocence like this why I gravitated to this so easily as a kid, and why I still love it today. Ron Gilbert clearly put a lot of care and attention into this game, and I wouldn't be surprised that he took aspects from his own childhood to create it. It was really hard for me to decide on a rating for this game. I have some problems with it, clearly, but for what it's trying to achieve, that's getting little kids to play video games, then it's done its job very well. I'm living proof of that. I can't urge you to play it enough. And please, 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 if you have a little kid, don't hesitate to pick this up for yourself and play along with them. You can find this game on Steam for $7. Given the game's length, it's possible that you won't get much bang for your buck, but for a game that your child will be left with a lasting impression, it's worth every penny. I give this game a 7 out of 10 with a yellow for age and sensory. There's one other reason why I'm not rating it any higher than it is, though. That's because this game has sequels, so I know that things get better from here. But those games will have to be for another time down the road, because I got plans for the holidays. I'll see you soon.